Oh, hi there. I think I found something interesting. It was International Women's Day, and what's interesting about this day is that it's not just a celebratory day, it's a day with an organization behind it with specific campaigns and specific goals. Just like Men's Day has themes or issues they focus on each time around. And I think it's important to know what's going on because there are way more people who celebrate and know about the day compared to people who are actually aware of the stuff that's associated with the day in an official capacity. And, well, generally, International Women's Day is pretty much like the He for She campaign. Men must do what they can to facilitate women and their desires, wishes, and they must force everyone else to submit as well. Because women have every positive characteristic you can come up with. Just look at that woman's face. She's so disappointed in you, shitlord. How will you mark the day? Celebrate the achievements of women. Yet let's also be aware progress has slowed in many places across the world. So urgent action is needed to accelerate gender parity. Oh, progress, you say? That lovely word that makes it feel like we need to be doing the right thing. Like there is no question about what to do or where to go. It's just about doing the work. It's not about designing a building and debating what kind of building it should be. No, it's about making progress with laying the bricks. Leaders across the world are pledging to take action as champions of gender parity. Well, good for them. We need people in positions of power to submit to our demands. As a reward, we will praise them by calling them champions of gender parity. So this is the first time we have gotten to gender parity. It's basically making women and men exactly the same, but only in certain ways. But how would they go about achieving this, or how do they define gender parity, and what do they base this everything on? That's why they have this EY thing. They have a countdown to when the gender parity is reached, but they don't explain this stuff either. They're just one example of an organization that's in some ways connected to the Women's Day stuff. Here is a whole list of references if you want to look into the topic of gender-based leadership. And that's specifically gender-based leadership. There are other topics. There are other lists for those other topics, and they file them under the resources. So if you meet a shitlord on the street, you can throw links at them and drown them with your social justice speak. But that's all they have. The statements, the facts, if you want to call them that they put out do not have direct references to some sources most of the time. There were a few, I believe, but most of the time it's all tucked away separately. We state these things and then you want to know more or you want to verify? Well, here's a huge list of things that we reference. So go do your own research. Try to find that fact somewhere, these numbers. Try to find them somewhere. Try to deduce how we came up with them. Okay, but let's move on to the pledge. Otherwise I could be here all day looking at all the different organizations that are tied to this day. Well, actually, no. Let's just take a moment here. Let's look at this single one first. It stood out for me. What is this mark thing? This looks very interesting. Men advocating real change. I was hoping for the best, but I scrolled down their webpage and guess who I saw? It's the infamous Michael Kimmel, the famous Mangina master. He's the original academic feminist sympathizer male. His deal is becoming a men's movement, but under the feminism umbrella. He does not really like the current men's rights movement. So you can kind of get what this guy is like, and if men advocating real change supports him, so yeah, you can call me unimpressed with this mark thing. Men advocating real change. Real change? Real change? What's that? What's unreal change? What's fake change? I just hope people aren't taking this nonsense seriously. Like really, I really do hope that. And, well, their whole income probably is just whether monetary or emotional income. It's just from the bigger feminist organizations going, who's a good talking for the feminist overload? Who's a good? Yes, you are. You're a good feminist. Yes, you are. You're good, Lala. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, the pledge. Firstly, help women and girls achieve their ambitions. But why only women and girls? Now, I understand that it's a Women's Day thing, but still, are women and girls not achieving their ambitions disproportionately to males? Why are we giving them a leg up if maybe they don't even need a leg up here? The most important determinant of a country's competitiveness is its human talent via the skills and productivity of its workforce. This sentence means absolutely nothing. Does not really convey anything of value, to be honest. Nothing new or something that would be surprising or would need to be stated at all. Organizations must illuminate the path to leadership, showing women the career and advancement opportunities that are necessary to fulfill their potential. That sounds incredibly stupid, like seriously. Illuminate the path to leadership? Are they blind? Can't they see it themselves? Wait, are you saying that women are incapable of seeing the path? Men are just fine, but no. Women need this landing strip level lighting to show them the path. And showing women opportunities that match their skills. Screw that. Seriously, screw that. Show them opportunities that exceed their skill. Make them want to be better. Don't restrict them to the level they currently are at. They can improve. Don't be misogynistic. Seriously. Individuals can commit to advocating for themselves. Wait, no they can't. If you're a man and you're advocating for yourself, you're a shitlord. And well, the rest of this barely means anything other than help the women's. Because, yeah, they can't handle it. Okay, let's now challenge conscious and unconscious bias. Studies show that gender-balanced organizations and teams deliver stronger results. Studies have shown that if I mention studies, people are automatically going to believe me. For sure. They are very religiously sticking to the notion that forced gender parity and diversity are somehow magically good for the company. And the studies to back this up? Let's just say studies have shown. And that inclusive societies are more progressive. Did you know that if I switch it around, it still makes perfect sense? And that progressive societies are more inclusive. See, I think it still works. Inclusive societies are more progressive. Yeah, well, you're inclusive, you're more progressive, that's good, right? And the progressive societies are more inclusive. See how it works? What are we to deduce from this? And that's what we have always suspected, that they are talking bullshit. But ingrained bias slows that progress of equality. Yes, the original sin. We are all faulty and feminism and social justice are the cure. Otherwise they might feel unnecessary and we wouldn't want that now, would we? Organizations must build cultures where all people feel valued and included. Well, feeling valued and included is just unnecessary if you are male. That's what I'm getting from here. Because it is Women's Day, come on. Well, it's that, or they are truly so delusional that they think every man feels valued and included. Believe me, that is definitely not the case. Studies have shown. And can contribute fully according to their capabilities. Whoa there, Satan. According to their capabilities? Does that mean that female firefighters should not have an easier time? I think this could upset a lot of feminists, because it's essentially telling women to know their place and capabilities. Yes, women, you can't have it all. Enjoy your Women's Day. Individuals can commit to learning about their biases, adjusting their behavior as needed. Okay, I have biases. I'm not gonna adjust them because it's not necessary. Now what? Are we done here, or are you going to have a problem with what I speak? And welcoming different experiences and points of view. I welcome them if I ask for them. I genuinely do not want to know what everyone is thinking. I don't want to spend the whole day looking into the experiences of everyone else. As you can imagine, that would be quite tiresome. And I simply do not care for what every single other person thinks about everything else. Call for gender-balanced leadership. That just means get women into leadership positions. Doesn't matter if they have earned it or not, just put them there. Companies with women board members outperform in return on equity, net income growth, and price-to-book value, as well as a host of non-financial measures. And look at all these sources we are citing, and look at how solid all of our evidence is. Organizations must ensure, they must, kind of authoritarian of you, ensure women are exposed to strategic operations and functions to gain experience needed for senior positions. This means they want women to be exposed to sewage work because that could potentially be very strategically important. And they might need that experience, you can never know. I know it sounds like I'm having a go at women, but I'm genuinely not. The thing is, all these sentences could potentially mean absolutely anything. Look at how many times they use vague words that do have definitions, but they aren't concrete or something measurable. And the rest of this bit is just more of the same. Value women and men's contributions equally. That's not very meritocratic of you. Why would you value them equally if they're not equal? What if a man is doing a shitty job? Why would you value that equally? What if a woman is doing a shitty job? Why would you value that equally? Raising the female labor force participation rate to match that of men will have a positive impact on GDP in both developed and developing economies. Again, no links here, so let's just blindly believe them. But this is important actually. Raising the female labor force participation rate is something that has been happening for quite a long time already. The thing is, it's still lower than that of males. And as long as there are more women at home with kids, it will be lower than males. There's just no way around that. So basically what they mean is that women should be working as much as men. And I don't think they want to. I think if you ask a lot of women, they will tell you that they don't necessarily want to work as much as men would want to, or are willing to. But let's move away from that. Let's say everyone participates. But what happens when a kid comes along? Men should be taking time off as much as the women. And is that even possible? But who will then take time off? And how do they get the balance here? Because either women stop taking time off as much, or, and this is quite sinister, I warn you, the kids are raised by the state in daycare and such. And that genuinely does sound bad. Just a few things to think about here. You hear about the wage gap, you don't hear as much about the gap between how many hours men work and how many hours women work. And if they did raise the female labor force participation rate, the wage gap would also shrink. Or, for some age groups, would go wider in the female direction. And this one is all about inclusivity and flexible spaces, and they are essentially saying that this specific kind of working environment is something people should have. And I'm not sure what they're basing this on. Who says that trusting team-oriented work environments are actually anything concrete, not just random buzzwords, or who says that these definitely help the organizations or anyone for that matter. Is it worth the effort to change into that? Maybe it does, but it's framed as a definite statement, and I'd expect this to be more vague. And I wouldn't be so sure about it, at least not for every situation, obviously. But yes, good working environments are good. I'm not just sure how that relates to Women's Day. Are you saying that women are less capable of handling tough working environments? But overall, this whole campaign is filled with buzzwords, assertions, and dubious sources, and it's the typical, see these good words? We are going for these good words. And you don't need to ask any more questions. Just do as we say, because we are doing these only good things. The source is us. There are no definite goals. Everything is very vague. That means that there is always more to be done. You can't achieve something you haven't defined in a concrete manner. But maybe they don't want to define specific goals because then the crazy train would actually have an ending. Maybe they will keep this ball rolling until the end of time to justify their own funding. And maybe I'm reading too much into this, but I still might have a point. And maybe that's enough for now, and you know where to find me.